Hello, I'm Victoria Reynoldson, Communication and Culture Coach, and welcome to today's Wednesday Words, where we'll be talking about top 5 tips for listening. So why is this an important topic? Well, I heard a really recent statistic which really shocked me. It said that we listen for 17 seconds before we interrupt the other person. Now, it doesn't matter what the conversation is, whether it's personal or business or whatever the topic is, 17 seconds is a really short amount of time. I'm sure you'll agree. And it really got me thinking. It means that if we listen just for that short amount of time, we're not really listening in the true sense of the word. We're listening to respond, to reply. We're starting to gather our thoughts within the first few seconds of what the other person is saying. And that's not positive because we may not really truly understand what the other person is saying. It sounds really basic, right? Listening is a key sense. It's probably something we should have learned at school. And clearly, I wish I had learned it at school. And it's definitely a skill that I need to focus on and keep developing. I also know it's a skill that my clients talk about is really important, particularly to build empathy, connections, and conversations, particularly in our very quick fire world of back-to-back meetings and getting communication out there. At the end of the day, communication can't really happen unless it's two-way. We're listening and speaking. If we're just speaking, then we're just broadcasting. And that's not good for individuals, for teams, for business. So I really wanted to share today my top 5 techniques for listening that I use with my clients. And these techniques are very simple, but we have to pay attention to them. It's just like learning a foreign language, for example. When you learn a new language, you pay attention to it. You learn the skills, you practice, which is the important point. It's exactly the same with listening. We need to learn the skills and then we need to put them into action and practice. Will we be perfect 100% of the time? Of course not. And that's not the objective, but it's about that incremental improvement in listening. And surely that's a goal worth going for, particularly when it has an impact on the people that we're working with. So let's start with sharing these 5 key listening techniques. So the first one, number 1, is to really focus on the other person. Now, we often get distracted when we're listening. There is a lot going on in our mind, and we might be thinking about a conversation we've just had or a meeting we've just come from. Or maybe we're thinking about what's happening later today or tomorrow, or even the long to-do list that we have to do. But the reality is, if we're stuck in our heads with the mental chatter and what's going on, we're not really paying attention and thinking about what is it this person is actually saying. It's the same with external distractions as well. We need to really put aside our phones, any devices that we have, and not try to sneakily look at our emails while listening to the other person. It's just not going to work. And as humans, we're not designed to have divided attention in that way. It really doesn't work and it doesn't make us efficient. So that means really looking at the other person, paying attention to them so they know you're listening and you can indicate that and they can feel that empathy and respect for them. And it really means as well that you can observe what's going on, not just the words that they're saying, but actually what's happening in their facial expressions, their body language, what perhaps is not being said, and how do they actually feel about the topic they're talking about. That can tell you a lot more than just listening to their words. So that is really important. Number 1, pay attention to the other person. Number 2 is all about suspending your judgment. So we're really quick to jump in and say, okay, this is what I think. This is what I like about your idea. This is what I don't like, or this is what I think you should do. But if we're going to really listen to the other person and make sure they feel they've expressed fully their ideas and thoughts, then we need to suspend that judgment. We need to stop and try and, clearly there comes a point in the conversation where we may want to express what we think, but I'll talk more about that later. But initially, we need to put that aside and just pay attention to what is the key idea, the key message here, and what is the person trying to express. That way, they can really feel like they're being heard. And also remember, the other person may not be an effective communicator. So it may take them a little while to get out the ideas that they're trying to say to you. So really put aside your own judgment and pay attention to them and what they're saying. So number 2 is suspend judgment. Number 3, when they pause, they may not be finished. So again, this comes to how we operate, how we sometimes feel like we need to jump in when there's a pause in a conversation. But silence can be a good thing. It might mean the other person is still thinking. So when there is a pause in the conversation, just wait that extra beat, that extra moment, and make sure that they're truly finished. You might check that and make sure that you have understood that they are finished by saying something like, "So tell me more about this," or "Is there anything else you want to add to that?" It's a great way to make sure that person has really fully expressed themselves. And again, it's showing that you're truly listening to them. Number 4, when they have finished and you have checked that, then it's great to make sure that you really have understood what they're saying. So ask clarifying questions, reflect back and summarize what you have understood, just to make sure you're on the same page. It's surprising, but sometimes we misinterpret what's being said because we filter it through our own lens and we are interpreting or perhaps making connections which are perhaps not there. So do make sure you ask these questions to make sure you've really, really got the idea. And then finally, number 5, we want to make sure that our feedback is welcome. I know this sounds strange, but sometimes people just want to be heard. They want to express themselves, and speaking out loud is their way of fully exploring an idea or thought. So make sure before you give your feedback that you actually ask them, would you like my feedback now? Would you like my perspective on this? I would probably guess that most people would, maybe 80 to 90%. But sometimes people just want to be able to be heard and actually explore their ideas. So you can ask, would you like my perspective on this now? Would you like my thoughts? And this is where your judgment can come in and you can share your views. So there you go, the 5 tips. Let's summarize them. So number 1, really focus on the other person. Number 2, suspend judgment. Number 3, when they pause, they may not be finished, so check that. Number 4, when they have really finished, reflect back and clarify. Make sure you really understood the idea. And number 5, check that they do want your feedback and that you're actually giving the feedback that is welcome. So there you go, 5 key listening tips for today. I hope you found these valuable. And I would love to know what you think and what you have found useful when listening really attentively to other people. So feel free to contact me via the links or reply to this email and let me know what it is that you think about this topic. I also love to know what you think about the series Wednesday Words. But in the meantime, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me today. And I look forward to seeing you next time. I'm Victoria Reynoldson, Communication and Culture Coach.